Hello YouTube, Earl of Pipes here on a pleasant Tuesday evening. I say pleasant, not all that pleasant actually. It's there's a train going by. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a couple miles away, and it's raining, so I'm not on my back porch. I'm on my front porch, and kind of had to come up with some contraption to actually be able to get this on video. I apologize for any poor content, but it's a Tuesday night. I've got my corn cob loaded, and I'm ready to smoke and give you my thoughts on RLP-6 from Lane Limited. So she's kind of been journeying with me a little bit this year. I'm trying to find an aromatic that might be suitable to introduce new smokers to. This is gonna give them a good pouch note, so it's something that they enjoy smelling, that it's going to be something that will have good flavor in the smoke, maybe complex flavor. I don't want it to bite them, and I want it to also have good, pleasurable room note as well. So that's what I'm looking for, and something for me to enjoy as well. So RLP-6. RLP-6 is a, I believe it is a burley, maybe some Virginias are in there, and some black Cavendish blend, and it is topped with it seems like chocolate and caramel. So when you open the note, or when you open the bag and you go for the bag note, and it's starting to rain here again. I smell chocolate, I smell caramel, I also get like a nutty, but almost kind of like coconut smell on there. But anyway, it's a good blend, it's a good smell. Now, I've also heard on the interwebs that RLP-6 is Captain Black White. And if that's the case, I kind of would vote for that. So Lane manufactures Captain Black and these Lane Limited bulk blends that you can get at Smoking Pipes or at Pipes and Cigars. And this really smells very similar. Big difference is I got 1.5 ounces of this for $2, whereas if I went up, not 1.5 ounces, but 1 ounce of this for $2, where if I went up to my drugstore up the street, I paid $11 for that. So I pick up 2 ounces, spend $4 or $5. I'm gonna have to pay $4 or $5 in shipping, so 8. Am I saving that much? Probably not. If I bought it in like a 16-pound bag and stored a bunch, probably so. But you know, to each his own. But I've heard it is Captain Black White, and it seems to be pretty reminiscent of that. So I've smoked a few bowls in the past week, and now I'm gonna light it up and kind of give you my thoughts, if I can, in this breeze. It's on nights like these that you guys who can smoke inside, even if it's just inside a garage, are my envy. One thing about this blend is, so like I said, I've heard that it's Captain Black White, except that they've removed some of the humectants from it, because it's a bulk blend, and so it doesn't need to be able to sit on a shelf for years. And if that's the case, that makes a lot of sense to me, because it's perfectly humidified when I got it. Not wet, not sticky. In fact, there's no stickiness to this compared to that Sutliff, my Mixer 79. There's nothing. It's got a great bag feel. Tin note is wonderful. Now in the smoke, number one thing that I love about this blend is it actually produces a lot of smoke. I find that it was hard for it to go out while I smoked it, which is a great thing, in my opinion. Next, I really think it delivers on its 10 note or bag note, whatever you want to call it. To get some sweetness. In the smoke. And sweetness, I mean, it's like you can feel sugar on the tongue. You know, some people talk about like a nougat flavor with this, and I see that because it is very reminiscent of that kind of that chocolatey, caramelly, coconut, all that kind of comes together, and you kind of get left with that kind of very sweet candy bar flavor, I guess, for lack of a better word, Snickers, yeah, maybe. So is the blend complex? No. I think it's just a good, sweet aromatic that's fun to smoke. It's really, there, maybe you can see my face a little better. Yeah, it's just a fun blend to smoke, meaning it smells nice, it's pleasant to those who are around you. It doesn't give you as much flavor as, say, you know, like a Quiet Nights, something like that. It's not that complex. It's not going to bowl over your taste buds. But what's there is wonderful. And I guess that's the key with aromatics, right? You're not really looking for complexity. You're not looking for something to build. You're looking for a flavor that you want to be present in your smoke, and you want it to be there from the beginning and the end. And this hits that. Now, I will say it does, to me, some of the flavors deepen as you go into the bowl. But they don't change. It's amplification. Now, either because it smokes so well, I mean, produces smoke so well, or my rhythm's too fast for it, or because it's an aromatic, this does tend to bite me on the tongue. Nowhere else, just the tongue. And it's kind of very similar to what I described in my Thursday video with Missouri Meerschaum, that I call it tongue fatigue, where it's like I don't think I could do, you know, once I get done with a bowl, I don't think I could do another bowl. Many other blends, certainly like a Virginia blend, unless I smoked it too hot, or an English blend, I feel like I could go for another bowl if I'd like. But this is a nice blend. One I think I might be interested in keeping on hand. My issue with it is that I still find that I like English blends better. If you asked me to pick between this and Quiet Nights, I'd pick Quiet Nights. Not because this is bad. My taste preferences are for an English blend. And so that's where you get to the problem with a blend like this, is I'm not going to smoke it very much. So do I keep it on hand to give out to new smokers? That's a pretty good idea. But it worsens, right? Supposedly, aromatics worsen over time. And I can see that too. I think, I love autumn evening. But I smoked some of it about a year ago, and then I re-smoked it earlier this year. Same tin. And so I've been in kind of hibernation for about 9 months. And when I re-smoked it, it wasn't the same as before. I mean, I guess we all know that going into these things. But that's my review of RLP-6. It's a good blend. And it's one I think that new smokers might like. I don't think it's going to offend anybody around you. Unless you're a smoke Nazi. I hope y'all have had a good week. My week has been good. However, it was long. And it was long because it was a long weekend. It was a long weekend because my wife is a long distance runner. And she decided last year that she was going to run the Louisiana Marathon, which is in Baton Rouge. And she did well. Did it under 4 hours. That was her first marathon. Loved it. Decided she wanted to do it again this year. Well, my wife is from South Louisiana, so she's from Houma, Louisiana, which is down like an hour southwest of New Orleans. And yes, there is something south of New Orleans in Louisiana. Anyway, but that's where she grew up. That's where her family's from, and it's not too terribly far away from Baton Rouge. Well, it's not terribly close either, but it's about an hour, 45 minutes away. And so the plan was we would drive down on Friday. We would leave the kids with her parents on Saturday, and then she'd run the race on Sunday. And we'd come back and go back to home on Sunday. And then on Monday during the holiday, because they had off of school, I had off of work, we'd all drive back up here. And we've got 4 children, ages 9, 7, 4, and 2. And children that age require a lot of attention and help. Well, Thursday night, my 7-year-old got sick. She began running a fever. And so at that point, you kind of throw off all your plans, right? And you don't go forward with them. You kind of got to figure out what you're going to do. So I told my wife, I said, well, first my wife said, well, why don't you keep the older children, since she's one of the ones that's sick. I'll take the little ones with me. They can stay with my parents. I'll go run the race. And I said, honey, that doesn't make any sense. It's a dangerous sentence to utter to your wife. I said, honey, that doesn't make much sense for you to bring the kids all the way down there to stay with your parents, and then you don't have anybody to watch you run the race, because her sister was going to come in and watch too, but her sister lives in New Orleans, was going to the Saints game later that day, and so it really didn't make sense for her. Anyway, I said, what are you going to do all that for? Why don't you just go down? You get time without the kids, with your parents, and I'll stay home. I'll watch all 4 kids during the long weekend, and that'll be good. So I knocked off work early on Friday for her to be able to go down, and so she went and ran a marathon and did it in 3 hours and 50 minutes, so 8:48 miles. She was booking it, and just proud of her. But so when I knocked off early on Friday, I left at 3:30 in the afternoon, and yeah, so I had them at about 3:30 in the afternoon on Friday, all the way till about 3 o'clock on Monday. And talking about a whole new level of appreciation for what my wife does as being the primary child care provider for my children. And I would have already told you that my wife works harder than anybody I've ever met in my life, but having 4 days to do what she does and to be in her shoes a little bit, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, she does more for us as a family than I ever dreamed of doing as a breadwinner. Now that's one thing I don't like about aromatics, is I find that I'll get sparks that'll fly out, ashes will fly out every now and then, even right after I packed it. And I don't know what I just did there, but I'm surprised I don't have a hole in my pants or my shirt. Got a few burn marks on my hand, but oh well. So anyway, I had the kids the whole weekend, and to my surprise, only had to administer one Band-Aid. Did have one trip to a doctor's office, but that was no blood involved. That was, my daughter had been sick since Thursday, or maybe it was Wednesday night, and had been running a fever on and off for 3 days. At that point, you gotta go take them to the doctor. So on Saturday, I loaded all the kids up and went to urgent care. Had all 4 of them with me. And it was pretty quick, but yeah, my wife does that kind of stuff all the time. I don't know how she does it. It certainly helps me understand her a lot more. Anyway, gang, I'm 18 minutes into it. I know y'all probably checked out a long time ago. For those of you who didn't, thank you for all your subscriptions and for your kind words. I hope y'all have a good and pleasant Tuesday evening. On this Corncob Tuesday is Earl of Pipes saying good night, have a great week. Try and catch you on Thursday. Later.